Hey guys, Mike with Bull Shad. Welcome to the Bull Shad YouTube page. I want to go over a little bit about our new 4x4 deep. It's one of our newest baits that I've been working on for quite a while. We had so much success with the 4x4 that I just had to make one that goes a little deeper for us. So what I'm going to do is go over the bait in detail and tell you a little bit about it and how to modify it and do any kind of modifications to it. But here's the difference between the two baits. The biggest difference is the profile is exactly the same. It's the same exact bait. Okay, you see one lip is at a steeper angle. The left is my deep and the right is my regular 4x4. They're a little bit deeper angle. You also have the hook hanger a little bit closer to the front, but that's the only way you can really tell the difference between the two. The advantages of these 4x4 baits, and the reason I call them a 4x4 bait, is because they go over timber extremely well. And I wanted to be able to make sure I got the same feature in this bait, and by moving that line tie a little bit forward, I was able to capture that. But I do want to make sure that some of my testers said they moved the hook back about 1/4 of an inch backwards, and they said it helped a little bit on hookup. Some of them didn't have any issue with that, but some of them did. So you do have that option. If you want to take that hook hanger out and move it back some, you can do that with no problem at all. But I just wanted to make sure that it stayed woodless as the other 4x4 that we have. So what makes this unique, different than the other 4x4, is I have a tuning chamber. And you can see, I don't know if you can see it, but I'm going to take it apart. Inside, on the bottom of the head, there is a tuning chamber here that allows you to modify the rate of fall, or you can make it float up higher. And the purpose of the tuning chamber, let me take it apart first. Take you a piece of wire, or you can take a framing nail, cut the head off the framing nail, put it in the jaws of the pliers from the bottom, stick it in the pinhole, okay, and push out the wire out the top. Oops. Put it in there. You can see the wire sticking out. Pull it out, take it apart. And then you can see the tuning chamber in there. Okay? What the tuning chamber does, here's the problem that I have with a lot of crank downs, is you're stuck with the bait as deep as it will dive in its present state. You can't modify it easily, I should say. With this bait, you can. You can add lead in here to make it do whatever you want. You can also take lead out to make it do whatever you want. Some people, when they have that bait go down, they hit cover, they want it to suspend. Other people want it to rise slowly. Some of them want it to make it rise really, really fast. You can do anything you want with that tuning chamber. If you look in there, there's lead in there. That's where the ballast is. Okay? You can drill through that ballast and make that thing float, make the bait lighter. So what happens is when it dives, it floats up faster. You can add lead in there to make it suspend, like I said earlier. One of the unique things that really makes this is you can fill that thing up full of lead and you can make this a countdown. So the whole bait will not float on the top, it will sink. And the cool thing about a countdown is you can make it go however deep you want. At one cast, if you want to make it 5 feet, you can let it go 5 feet just as soon as it hits the water, and you can just start running. Now over here you want it to go 15 feet, let it sink a little bit, start cranking without changing any kind of lure. So that's the unique thing about this tuning chamber, is it allows you to customize the rate of fall. Another thing, a lot of people, when you fishing crank downs, you need to be able to cater to the bait to the temperature of the water. So for example, say this bait barely floats here in the wintertime here in Georgia. It will float like this, barely. Come summer, this bait is going to sink. Okay? You need to be mindful of the physics of this. In warm water is denser, it's going to sink the bait, where in cold water it makes it float. So if I make a bait here in Georgia, in the wintertime, it's going to be as buoyant as it's going to be. If I send it to Florida, that bait's going to probably sink in their water. If I send it to New Hampshire, this bait is probably going to be a heavier floater. So you have to be mindful of the seasons of the water temperature of what your bait is going to be doing based on that water temperature. There are things around that. You can adjust it with the tuning chamber any way you want to accommodate that. Or you can buy a winter bait, and the other one you can make it a summer bait. You know, so something a cross between two. You just put a W on the top, and you just know that this one floats in the winter, and the other one in the summer, it makes it float in the summer. You can't have it both ways. So that was my alternative around that, to get that tuning chamber in there. Now, what can you put in there? You could put any kind of lead in there. You know, take a bullet sinker and stuff it in there, cut it down. And what I like to do is take some of this water weld. Basically, it's a 2-part putty. You knead it and you stick it in there, and it sticks to anything, and it'll keep that stuff in there. The downside of this is if you want to get it out, you're going to have to drill it out. So you need to be able to get creative. Any kind of a Play-Doh or something that can put it in there, keep it in there, keep your lead in place is what you're looking at. I was going to say something else. But that's the main thing about it that I can remember is the tuning chamber, and makes this thing different than all the other baits. One other thing that I remember, if you get these things custom painted, also be mindful that when the custom painter puts epoxy on it, you might want to do, when you send the bait to him or her, have the pin sticking out. Not a bad example. Have the pin sticking out, so that when the custom painter, tell the custom painter to leave it sticking out, and he clears it. That way, you're able to access the pin to still modify the tuning chamber. So that's the main thing, is when you have that tuning chamber, make sure you have that wire sticking out if you send it to a painter, so that you can access that tuning chamber. Otherwise, it's going to be stuck in there, and you're not going to be able to get it out, and you're going to have to do surgery. That or buy another bait. But that's why I have not answered a lot of the questions about the specs as far as how deep it can dive, because it really can do anything. It can dive 20 feet if you let it sink. If you fill this thing full of lead and you let it sink, it can also dive 6 to 7 feet. I would think will be the average, the lowest that it will sink. You can raise your rod tip high, get it to go slower. You can put it down lower and make it go deeper. It depends on the line size and all that kind of stuff. So that's why I refrain from telling you how deep it will go. But I would say 6 to 8 feet, 6 to 7 feet, somewhere in that range is your typical diving range with, say, 15-pound line on a normal long cast. So after that, you can get this thing to go 10 feet if you start adding weight to it and getting it to sink or even more. So be mindful of that. I hope you guys enjoy this. I wanted to go over this bait and show how unique it is, the features that I have for it, so that you understand why I did what I did in the mindset that I had before it. I hope you enjoyed it. This is the 4x4 Deep. Thank you. Hey guys, I went in to edit the video and I forgot to show how to tune our 4x4 Deeps. When I made this mold, I made it a lot easier to make in the deeps than I did the 4x4, so it's a lot easier for the consumer to tune the baits if they need it. It's very simple, just like a crankbait. You know, if the bait kind of wanders off to the left-hand side or the right-hand side, what you do is you take your pliers and you twist. You just bend the line tie to the opposite direction that it's going toward. So if it's going to the right, you bend the line tie to the left. If it's going to the left, you bring the line tie to the right. It's super, super simple. All you do is just a little bit. It doesn't take much. And just to make that line tie just move a little bit with the screw with a pair of pliers. Make sure that you don't use any kind of pliers with any kind of teeth on them, so they might screw up your line tie a little bit. So just use some pliers with no teeth and just bend the line tie gently to the opposite direction that the bait is leaning, and that should help you. Just make a few casts and it corrects itself. You know, if it goes the other way, you need to bend it back. So it's super, super easy, just like a crankbait if you were using a conventional lure. So I hope that explains everything, and I appreciate your time. Have a great day.